Hello viewers. We are Alliance of Flat Earth 101 channel. In this episode, we will show you 3 important things that we have to know. We created this video just for people to know who implements multidimensional systems in our lives, especially about debt. Don't always blame the government, economists, or state officials, because everyone is just following the system. This video is special for you, who feel there are something in the world system that controls by the global elite, benefit them, and harm all of us. In the middle of this topic we will respond to the chairman of the Indonesian Space Agency regarding his statement on social media, that is about flat earth is fantasy fairy tale. Have a good time for watching.
So what is a central bank? A central bank is an institution that produces the currency of an entire nation. Based on historical precedent, 2 specific powers are inherent in central banking practice: the control of interest rates and the control of the money supply, or inflation. The central bank does not simply supply a government's economy with money, it loans it to them at interest. Then, through the use of increasing and decreasing the supply of money, the central bank regulates the value of the currency being issued. It is critical to understand that the entire structure of this system can only produce one thing in the long run: debt. It doesn't take a lot of ingenuity to figure this scam out. For every single dollar produced by the central bank is loaned at interest. That means every single dollar produced is actually the dollar plus a certain percent of debt based on that dollar. And since the central bank has the monopoly over the production of the currency for the entire country, and they loan each dollar out with immediate debt attached to it, where does the money to pay for the debt come from? It can only come from the central bank again, which means the central bank has to perpetually increase its money supply to temporarily cover the outstanding debt created, which in turn, since that new money is loaned out at interest as well, creates even more debt. The end result of this system without fail is slavery, for it is impossible for the government and thus the public to ever come out of the self-generating debt.
Everyone at some point in their lives has heard of the Federal Reserve, but most likely don't understand what it is or how it works. The Federal Reserve, referred to as the Fed, is a central bank that many economists refer to as the biggest robbery ever enacted on the American people. The reason for this is because the Federal Reserve is neither part of the federal government, nor does it have any reserves. Yet, this single organization controls the money supply of the most powerful country in the world. Testifying before Congress in 2009, Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke refused to disclose which institutions received trillions of dollars in these bailouts and loans, or give our representatives details about what deals were being made.
So my question to you is, will you tell the American people to whom you lent $2.2 trillion of their dollars? Will you tell us who got that money and what the terms are of those agreements?
Hundreds and hundreds of banks, any bank that has access to the U.S. Federal Reserve's discount.
Tell us who they are.
No.
The problem is we have a privately owned central bank system in the United States disguised as a government-owned system. Now, if you look in the telephone book here in the Washington, D.C. area, you look up for Federal Reserve in the blue government pages, it's not there. It's in the white pages right next to Federal Express. It's a privately owned central bank.
Well, first of all, the Federal Reserve is an independent agency, and that means basically that there is no other agency of government which can overrule actions that we take.
Under this fractional reserve scheme, we inevitably become debt slaves to a ruling class of financial elite, not because they are better or smarter than anyone else, but because they have rigged the system to benefit themselves at the expense of most people on the planet.
They rob the American people. It also exacerbates the world economy, so that mankind needs a single currency and a single government. Because if all countries and religions are destroyed, then that is the reason for the entry into force of the New World Order.
Jadi, jangan heran kalau elit global mampu mencuci otak dunia. Ada yang bisa keliling dunia lewat selatan melintasi Antartika.
At the end of 2016, we as civilians, who came courtesy to visit Lapin, but after that visit, the chairman of Lapin immediately said frontally on the web and in the mass media that we are lovers of flat earth fantasy tales. Meanwhile, we never criticized the Lapin institution because understands that everyone is only part of a globally applied system. Our critics only focus on NASA and the global elite. So, we responded through an open response letter in January 2017, but the Lapin, it seems, did not respond it. Today we will show you some basics about how and why did we believe in flat earth. This is not a theory. After this, Indonesian people can realize or judge for themselves. Who among us are lovers of fantasy fairy tale?
nggak ada yang membuktikan kalau bumi itu sebenarnya datar. Dan logikanya gini aja deh, kalau kita lagi berenang di laut gitu kan, kalau buminya datar, kalau kita nyampe ujungnya laut itu, kita akan jatuh dong, bener nggak?
Jadi bukan berarti perhitungan ini menggunakan saros, terlalu sederhana kalau menggunakan saros. Jadi menggunakan saros itu ya seolah-olah siklusnya ini.
Tapi Pak, untuk hitung-hitungannya sendiri itu NASA tidak mempublikasikan, kenapa gitu Pak?
Dipublikasikan?
Ada,
tapi terlalu rumit kalau ini ada. Jadi yang saya sampaikan misalkan yang genius itu penyederhanaan. Nah kalau yang mau lebih lengkapnya itu bukunya tebel. Jadi bukunya tebel di situ karena di situ ada perhitungan-perhitungan.
Dari pihak lapan Pak yang maksudnya udah menguasai hitungan itu ada Pak?
Ada teman-teman astronom.
Benar-benar pakai kalkulasi gitu Pak?
Iya.
The chairman of LAPAN acts as if that calculation of eclipse is usually done by the astronomers, and has been done by using the heliocentric model. Even after that, he suggested us to refer to another book, whereas that book never gives eclipse cycle calculation, but it only contains mathematical theory. We understand that the growth of flat Earth consciousness involves conflict of interest with the Indonesian Space Agency. We were not surprised if the orientation of the chairman of the LAPAN was more a factor of interest than scientific. Let's make it clean and clear. Prove you can make a simulation of 3 times solar eclipse and 3 times moon eclipse, according to heliocentric calculations accurately. Because all the world's scientists claimed could not afford, except to use Saros cycle count. Please use a natural software, like Cinema 4D. Publish it, so that people can verify it's valid. Very simple. Don't bullying in mass media through your blog, and don't just write a fairy tales book like this. For the students of this country, always dreaming about space program. By the way, we believe some of these things are made by our scientists, but could we audit and look at the sky clearly that these objects work in the space? Hey, there is an impenetrable barrier in space. Oh brothers, how do you believe this jokes? How do you believe that? Where is your logic? It's jokes. It's very clear. How do you believe the satellite is out there? Oh sorry. We almost forgot to tell you, it's about the ITU relation with the UN and the global elite. Do you know what ITU is? ITU is one of the UN special agencies, it based in Geneva, Switzerland. That is located near the main building of the UN. ITU is the institution that regulates the location of satellite orbit slots. So regarding the satellite slot, our government must begging for them to get the fiction slot. In the final topic, we will show you the relevance of the UN to the global elite, so that we can more understand the world system, and it governed by whom. But now we have to show you about our response to the chairman of LAVIN.
And everyone that accuses has been told world hoax theory about geocentric universe and another land beyond Antarctica. Okay, let's first discuss about geocentric universe.
Now, you're getting all sorts of controversy. Scientists that are in the film that are saying, you know, we've been misquoted and all this sort of thing. What do you say to this idea that these guys didn't even know what they were, you know, that they didn't know they were going to be in a film about this subject?
Yeah, well, I don't want to accuse them of anything. I can see how it would be so earth-shattering to them, because all their lives they've been saying that we're insignificant, we're just out there, we're nothing, and all of a sudden their very telescopes show them something just the opposite. So how would you react? And so your defense mechanisms come up, you know, and so I understand the dilemma that they're in. But scientific evidence is scientific evidence. It's there, and they have to deal with it.
Well, Bob, tell me about the thing that you found with the galaxies.
Well, in 2005, they had turned their telescopes to the universe, and they wanted to take a sort of a grand survey of all the galaxies. It was called the Sloan Digital Sky Survey, 2005. As far out as we could see in the universe, the galaxies were aligned in concentric spheres around, guess what? Earth, or our galaxy. Let's just put it that way. So, but we're in the galaxy, so it means, you know, all these galaxies are separated by 250 million light years. And then you go another 250 million light years, and there's another concentric sphere. And then another 250, there's another. So there's 7 altogether that we can see. Mm-hmm. Okay. So again, this puts us right in the center of things. They have never seen this before.
And now, this is at Antarctic. The key to reveal how large and wide Earth is. The chairman of Le Pen suggested to the public to see Google Earth about Antarctica. And the funny thing is, chairman of Le Pen said that Antarctica is full covered by ice. Wow, amazing. It's fantasy. Please stop the jokes. This is serious. Why do they publish following video, released in 2011 on the internet?
Our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this Earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing. that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do.
Anda tahu Little America itu di mana? Ini peta Antartika versi bumi bola. Little America adalah pulau kecil di daerah paling ujung. Sebenarnya Little America itu apa? Harusnya New Zealand kan? Tapi Admiral Byrd bilang ada wilayah sebesar Amerika di seberang Little America. Di sebelah mana? Ini sebenarnya menarik. Admiral Byrd pernah sendirian pergi ke Antartika. Sendirian selama 5 bulan. Dia bilang Antartika adalah tempat paling damai di muka bumi. Lantas, ada apa dia tiba-tiba disuruh memimpin 2 kali operasi militer ke Antartika membawa 6.500 prajurit? Ada ancaman apa di sana? Admiral Byrd adalah admiral termuda sepanjang sejarah militer Amerika. Penerima medali militer tertinggi, Medal of Honor. Dia orang yang punya integritas dan kredibilitas. Informasi yang dia sampaikan kredibel.
What did the global elite hide from mankind? For what? Previously, we already know that Google Earth is using CIA technology to map the world. And we have been already know that Google is hiding the true Antarctica surface area. Is it possible that Google Earth, CIA technology, didn't know anything about this anomaly surface of Antarctica? Well, do you know what the CIA is doing to our country? Freeport. Our country's natural resources are dredged by them.
CIA sengaja melengsarkan Soekarno agar perusahaan asing bisa memiliki izin di Indonesia. Soekarno sangat menolak perusahaan asing menguasai tambang di Papua. Dia yakin hal ini akan membuat kekayaan Indonesia dikeruk habis-habisan.
Tujuan Allen Dulles itu adalah untuk menjatuhkan Soekarno. Nah, cuma mencari jalan karena ketika itu Kennedy justru mau berusaha mempertahankan Soekarno. Maka ada dugaan kemungkinan Allen Dulles itu mempunyai peranan tertentu dalam proses pembunuhannya Kennedy. Bahwa Amerika yang kapitalistis sangat ingin menguasai Papua, ya. Apakah sekejam itu CIA sampai membunuh Kennedy sekali? Kalau dia menjatuhkan Soekarno itu hal yang biasa dalam pikiran saya. Tapi kalau dia sampai membunuh Kennedy hanya karena itu buat saya betul-betul super aneh, super kelewatan itu.
Maka, demi langgengnya Freeport, Soekarno harus dijatuhkan. Presiden yang menggantikannya harus pro pemodal asing.
Ratusan tahun lamanya Indonesia itu dihisap oleh negara-negara utara. Bukan hanya Indonesia, semua negara-negara kulit berwarna. Sehingga Barat menjadi kuat, menjadi makmur, menguasai keuangan dan perdagangan sampai sekarang. Nah, sekarang didikte oleh IMF, oleh Bank Dunia. Negeri yang begini kaya diubah menjadi negara pengemis sekarang, Indonesia. Karena tidak adanya karakter pada elit.
In 1967, the Time Life Corporation sponsored a conference in Switzerland that planned the corporate takeover of Indonesia. It was attended by the most powerful businessmen in the world, such as David Rockefeller. The giants of Western capitalism were represented. The oil companies, the banks, General Motors, British Leyland, ICI, British American Tobacco, Lehman Brothers, American Express, Siemens. Across the table were Indonesian leaders approved by General Suharto. For Western business, it was the start of the gold rush which later became known as globalization.
I've never ever heard of a situation like this for any country where global capital essentially holds a meeting with state and hammers out the conditions of their own entry into the country. The conference went on for 3 days. The first day was when the Indonesians spoke and essentially made their case. They divided into 5 different sections on the second day. Sectoral meetings, mining in one room, food services, light industry in another, banking and finance in another. Chase Manhattan was there. And simultaneously, they hammered out policies that were going to be acceptable to these global investors on a sector-by-sector basis, with each of the people going around the table saying, this is what we need to see, this. And they basically designed the legal infrastructure for investment in Indonesia.
Salah satu pentolan elit global adalah David Rockefeller yang memulai istilah globalisasi dengan menjajah Indonesia secara ekonomi sejak tahun 1967. Sekarang, mari kita dengar apa tanggapan David Rockefeller tentang tudingan bahwa keluarga mereka adalah elit global yang merugikan umat manusia lain di dunia.
The United Nations plays a vitally important role in the development of a functioning international system.
The United Nations stands, finally, as a symbol of the new world order that will one day be built.
Ne işe yarıyor bu Birleşmiş Milletler? Sadece onların gizli amacı neyse ona hizmet ediyor.
America its own interests, and the role it is called upon to play in all parts of the world require it to work toward the removal of race and color as significant factors in a new world order. Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal, working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalist, and conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure.
One world, if you will. If that's charge, I stand guilty, and I am proud of it.
In a brief video introduced by the United Nations Secretary General Boutros Boutros-Ghali and containing some exceptional footage, the connection between the United Nations, New York City, and the Rockefeller Foundation is clearly drawn.
The future of this country and the lives of our children and our children's children are interwoven with the success of the United Nations. In it lies the hope of the people of the world. My father considers it a privilege to have had a part in the development of its permanent home. I'm glad to hand you, Mr. Lee, my father's check. Thank you, Mr. Rockefeller.
Jika Anda takut, maka seumur hidup Anda akan dibuli dan dijadikan sapi perah. Seperti sekumpulan domba yang digiring menuju pejagalan.
Then we are nothing but sheep being herded to the final slaughterhouse. I will not go down that way. I choose to fight back. I choose to rise, not fall. I choose to live, not die. And I know that what's within me is also within you. That's why I ask you now to join me. Join me. Rise up with me. Rise up on the wings of this slain angel. We'll rebuild on the soul of this little warrior. We will pick up his standard and raise it up. Carry it forward until this city, your city, our city, his city, is a palace again. Is a palace again.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no secret is revealed. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
Social justice. I hate imperialism. I detest colonialism. Tapi kita tidak minta tolong kepada negara lain, bangsa lain. Kami dikepung minta tolong, tidak. Kami malah berkata, ya kekejero kayak manuk beranjangan. Oh, kita kayak apa angin. Kenapa kok pintu kenapa Indonesia hancur sama sekali. Prinsip inti daripada imperialisme ialah membuat bangsa-bangsa memerlukan bantuan daripada pihak imperialis. The crowning of independence is not membership of the United Nations, but the ability to stand on our own feet. It rang through everywhere. Rang itu artinya menggelegar seperti beledek mengampar-ampar, saudara-saudara.
The choice is yours. If you are silent, it's all up to you. But clearly, our God never commands his peoples to be silent when they were tyrannized. He requires people to change their own destiny, because he has promised the best future for all of us after that. Alhamdulillah, this episode is finished. Inshallah, we will come back for next episode. Thank you for your attention. We apologize for any shortcomings. See you later. Shalom, people power.